Philip Galinsky, and today I'm going to be introducing you to the concept of the repicada on the pandeiro. What is a repicada? The term repicada comes from the Portuguese word repicar, which means to ring or chime, and we can translate the repicada as an ornamentation. Now, this drum here, the repique de mão, invented by Ubirani from Grupo Fundo de Quintal. Actually, the drum repique de mão already has that concept in it of the repicada, right? The instrument's name is the repique, so it already has as its characteristic this ornamentation. So let me just show you as an example a basic pattern for samba on the repique de mão with and without the repicada. Okay, so this is just an example, all right? And in fact, I've taught both of these patterns on in a tutorial on the channel entitled A Basic Pattern for Samba on the Repique de Mão. So check that out if you'd like to delve deeper into this instrument. So here's an example without repicada. Now with repicada. So this little figure here is an example of a repicada. The repicada, in my understanding anyway, isn't just one thing. It isn't necessarily just this. It could be this. It could be this. Right? It's an ornamentation. Anyway, this is just my perspective based on how I understand it. So for the last number of years, it's become very popular to play repicadas, especially repicadas that have been borrowed from the repique de mão, and to play them on other samba percussion instruments like the pandeiro, the tantan, especially the pandeiro, okay? So this lesson is just going to be an introduction to the concept of the repicada. And in this lesson, I'm going to show you two basic movements that you can use on the pandeiro to create repicadas. These movements in and of themselves are repicadas, but you can use them to create even more repicadas, all right? So keep in mind that I would suggest anyway that if you're new to the pandeiro, this is very much an advanced lesson. So if you're new to the pandeiro, I would definitely check out all the basic pattern videos on the pandeiro that I've posted here previously. For example, a basic pattern for samba on the pandeiro, which is just the basic subdivisions of the samba. And I also posted two basic partido alto patterns. So I would definitely familiarize yourself with those first, and then come here and dive into the repicadas. But this is definitely an advanced lesson. But I'm just going to be providing, as I said, an introduction to the concept here. All right, so, and how do we use the repicada on the pandeiro? Well, it could be used in a basic pattern. So for example, if we're playing this as our basic pattern, or this, we can use a repicada like this. That's just an example, right? We could also use it as kind of an ongoing variation when we're playing. So for example, something like that. The sky is the limit, okay? Keep in mind that some pandeiro players and some samba percussionists in general in this kind of format of the samba, the small group samba context, some don't use repicadas at all. Others use repicadas a lot, and you know there's a whole range of possibilities, right? The sky is the limit. So, and there's a tremendous diversity of ways of playing all of these samba percussion instruments. So you don't have to necessarily use repicadas. It's just an option. It's a resource that you can use if you want. If you're as a student of the pandeiro, as a learner of the pandeiro or of samba percussion, I personally, as a teacher, as an educator, I would recommend really focusing on the basics first, focusing on mastering some basic patterns, some basic variations, playing along with songs, playing with other musicians, and then start to explore the concept of repicadas. Okay, because repicadas are definitely more advanced, and they're at least in my understanding of it, they kind of are the icing on the cake, right, or the sprinkles on the cake, right? If you choose to use them, but many players don't use them at all, and like I said, many do, and so it's really a personal choice. It's a stylistic stylistic choice. All right, so to get into these two basic movements, very simply, the first movement is just going to be thumb and open fingers. We can play the open finger stroke like this, where I take my first, second, and third fingers and I just try to get the same sound as my thumb stroke. Okay, and I'm hitting the rim of the drum is coming right about here on my fingers. You can also get the same sound like this, or a similar sound. I take my three fingers and I put them more in the form of a claw. This particular technique is used a lot more on the pandeiro de couro, the animal skin head pandeiro, but you can use it on the plastic head pandeiro, the pandeiro de nylon as well. Okay, so I think on the plastic head pandeiro, for me anyway, it's a little easier to get the finger stroke like this with the flat fingers. All right, so this would be the first exercise, is just going thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers. Okay, so that's the first movement, right? The second movement is doing two thumbs and then fingers. So thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers. Okay, so I would suggest really mastering these two movements first. Okay, so it may take a while to get them. All right, and once you're pretty comfortable with these movements and you can get the same sound from the finger stroke, whether you play it like this or like this, as the thumb. I mean, it's obviously not going to be the exact same sound, but get it very close. And when you could play, play those two strokes very consistently in that sequence. So thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, thumb, fingers, like that. Then what we can do is we can put it into an exercise. Okay, this is an exercise, a routine that I created for myself to practice the repicadas. And what I do is I just play a basic pattern for samba, condução rhythm, the driving rhythm, and I usually do this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 E, 1, 2, 3, 4 E, 1. You can use any one that you like, but that's the one that I use for this exercise. So basically I play one measure of that, and then I start with this movement, thumb, fingers, and I play a series of rhythmic figures at different rates. Okay, so I'm going to go, let me demonstrate. I go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, 1, 2. So then I'm going to first use the triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay, so I do one measure of basic pattern, one measure of a repicada exercise. Okay, so first is the triplet, first alternating, and then the first measure the second measure is triplet. Then I go basic pattern again. And then the second time around, I use the same movement, thumb, fingers, but I'm going to move it into 16th notes, or the 4 subdivisions per beat. So I'm going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a So all of those measures together would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, a 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Okay, so then we do another measure of our basic pattern, or condução. And then the third time we do a sextuplet, so a triple feel. So we go 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So we go 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, or 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Okay? So that's the first part of the exercise. The second part of the exercise, we use the second movement, which is going to be thumb, thumb, fingers. Okay, so we do the same repicadas, but using this movement, thumb, thumb, fingers. So we alternate again, we alternate condução and repicada, condução, repicada, and we use the same rates for the repicadas, triplet or eighth note triplet, 16th notes, and sextuplets. Okay? If you don't know those terms, don't worry. You could just use your ear to hear the rate that I'm playing, okay? So this time we're gonna go 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Sorry, 1E and a 2E and 1E and a 2, 1E and a 2E. Yeah, sorry. Okay, and then we're going to do the same movement as sextuplets. Okay, so let's put this all together in an exercise. I'll have the metronome set to 60 beats per minute with the metronome set to the eighth note, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the exercise. Play through the exercise. Well, first learn the strokes. Get really comfortable with the strokes, the two different movements, and try to put them into this exercise with a metronome. And let me know how you do in the comment section. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Give the video a like if you liked it, and let us know how you're doing with the repicadas. Okay? This is just a starting point for understanding repicadas, but I hope it's useful to you, and I'll see you in the next video.